Hi folks, welcome to your Fat Eck post-match reaction pod, coming to you in association with the Gersnet microphone. Gersnet live on YouTube Sunday the 11th of August, 9:30pm, the flagship show. Get onto that tomorrow night. The boys will give you a proper breakdown, a proper analysis of everything that happened at Hampden today. I'm also coming to you in association with Gammon Away, the new repellent spray available in all good high street chemists, whether they've had their windows kicked in or not. Listen guys, let's get real guys in my age group, 45 to 89 years old, we still like wearing t-shirts, we still like wearing polo shirts, even maybe with logos on them, some brands, even some Fred Perry. Weather like this, you're wearing shorts, you get the trainers on, and it's Adidas, isn't it? I mean, I just get the £2.99 ones for Decathlon, but you're probably still wearing some Gazelle, Frankfurt, there's some fancy like that, and you're pink of face, you're heavy of hue, you've got that kind of, you're a bit jowly, like me, you're a bit specky, you're definitely baldy. Weather like this means you need a baseball cap, and you've got that pinkish face, and folk think he looks angry, and I am angry. We are angry boys, aren't we? But it's not about the things they think you're angry about. You're angry about the fact that the grey bin only goes out once a month, and the last weekend it went out, you're away on holiday, and your neighbour didn't bother putting it out for you, and that's sad. I mean, why would they? Because you don't put their bin out for them. But that's a whole thing that you're angry about, and differently. If you're angry about the fact that the guy across the road parks his, I mean, it doesn't actually park it so you can't get out your driveway, but the back wheel just goes out, and it's just a bit inconsiderate. That's kind of stuff you're angry about. But you look like you're angry about other stuff because you look a bit gammony. You're angry about the fact that when you're just completing the VHS collection of all the Scorsese De Niro collaborations, you just track down Mean Streets, you go King of Comedy, you're just waiting on that delivery through the mail for New York. Everyone went DVD, didn't it? Everyone went DVD, so you had to start the collection again, like Cape Fear, get in there. I mean, obviously you've got the Raging Bull and all that, but then next thing, he brings out The Irishman on Netflix. And you're thinking, what do I do now? Do I get everyone on Netflix? Do I download, because do I go at Prime or something like that? And then it's Killer of the Flower Moon, and suddenly your whole life's just been a complete waste of time. So you are angry, you look very gammony, but if you've got to park the motor in, say, Daisy Street, Alison Street, Annette Street, Cathcart Road, anywhere in the kind of Govan Hill area, Battlefield, anywhere, Mount Florida-ish, with a bunch of boys that are waving Union Jacks and stuff like that. If you happen to be walking through a Scottish Asian community and you happen to look very like people who've been all over television for the past week, throwing bricks and, firebombs, basically, at mosques and hotels, then some of the Asian boys might want to give you a wee punch in the face. And I've had a wee punch in the face from some Scottish Pakistani boys a couple of decades back, and it was actually quite exotic compared to all the punches in the face I was used to getting in Ardrossan from very white, very Protestant people. So, you don't want to just get spray the old gammon away onto you, and they'll just realise that the only danger you pose to them is through being a massive pain in the neck. Hi, Auntie. Now, the stuff in the window there, the little dumpling things with the batter on them, are they going to be too spicy for my Rick? Don't call me Auntie ever again. Get the fuck out of my show. But don't spray on too much. Don't spray on too much, or you end up smelling of total Antifa, and you'll get a doing off gammons. But anyway, my name's Alec Anderson. I've got God-given cushion and some God-given pushing. It's your God-given duty to appreciate my booty. And I'm talking to you quite a few hours now, actually, after Rangers beat Motherwell by 2-1 at, air quotes, home Hampden Park in today's SPFL Premiership fixture. Rangers playing a league game at the National Stadium for the first time in just over 11 years. Maybe there's 2 games in the third division against Queen's Park, where Queen's Park were hosting their home stadium. Their first top flight league match at the National Stadium in just over 29 years. Remember when Celtic were rebuilding Parkhead, they moved into Hampden for an entire season. We gubbed them one of the league games at Hampden, they gubbed us the other one after we'd already won the league. And the first time Rangers have hosted a league game at, I think, anywhere other than Ibrox. Certainly the first time we have hosted a league game at Hampden in just over 45 years, in 78-79 season, while we were right in the middle of rebuilding Ibrox under the Willie Waddle plan. We played the two home Old Firm games in the league that season. We hosted them at Hampden, drew 1-1 each, one the other 1-0. Both the goals scored by Alex Forsyth and Alex Doddy McDonald, absolute Rangers legend. And it must be, I don't know, you tell me please, I've no bothered researching it, I probably should have. This must be the first time Rangers have played anybody in a league game at the National Stadium that wasn't wearing hoops. The opposition wasn't wearing hoops. And, well, it's over 45 years, we know that for a fact. So, I don't know, have we ever done it? Hampden's been in the goal since, what, 1902, the current Hampden's been in the goal since, what, 1902, 1903. You know, we've been at Ibrox with this stuff, the paraphernalia, you know, the steelwork pattern that's on our training gear. Is that training gear, whatever it is, warm-up gear? There's so many things you can buy these days. The players are wearing it. It's because it's 125th anniversary of the current Ibrox, the second Ibrox, where we are. Quite ironic, let's say. But so maybe we've done this in the past, but it felt very flat the day. It ended up feeling pretty flat. It was kind of momentous. It was very interesting, but I was just sitting there as the clock was kind of hitting 89, 90, and Motherwell are getting a corner, 2 corners was it? Up our end, we're only winning by 2-1, and I was so chuffed. And the folk that run about me, good friends of mine that I sit next to at Ibrox, have been mapped over together, so it was nice to see them again. And we felt as if we kind of looked out front of the main stand at Ibrox, and here we were up the top tier of the main stand at Hampden. Beautiful view, it had been sunshine. I'm looking over, and you can see that steelwork, that grid work that's just holding up the cantilever, that's doing the cantilever, and it's the load bearing stuff that's going on outside the stadium, pinning the roof's weight onto the back of the wall at the back of the stand, because you're up so high, because Hampden dips and the south stand's higher than the north stand, and you can see up the hill, up the Simon Bolivar Street, named after a South American revolutionary, and then you see all the houses up there, and the kind of brown of the steelwork is just kind of mixing in, blending in beautifully with the sand-blasted, kind of sandy coloured, brown coloured brickwork of the tenements and the slate of the roofs and that kind of thing, and there's a Union Jack flying and a saltire flying. You think this is absolutely fine. You just witnessed on where Clinkart Road, a shot where Clinkart Road hits Cathcart Road, a beautiful coming together, a demonstration of community unity. We're not going to have the stuff that happened down south happening here in Scotland. There are a whole bunch of white, gammony looking Protestants carrying Union Jacks and wearing Rangers tops. They're not throwing bottles. They're not putting stuff through the windows of a hard-working Asian shopkeeper in that Londies on the corner. It was a beautifully behaved queue, a constant queue of young men, older men, wanting to get in there, and they're being allowed in 1, 2 at a time by a couple of lovely Asian Scottish guys on the door. And these guys were coming out. They were bringing the bottles out of that shop. We were taking the bottles out of an Asian Scottish business, and some of the bottles, I mean, no Molotov, but definitely stuff you find in cocktails, no total rocket fuel, a lot of them. So that was absolutely beautiful to see, a real coming together. The sun was shining, it was absolutely beautiful. And then suddenly, in that last couple of minutes of that game, the day, I'm just like, it's suddenly gone grey, didn't it? You remember, the sun kind of went away with 5 minutes of the game left. And the only problem I had with the seat was at Ibrox, the seat I'd been mapped over to at Ibrox, I'm up the Rangers end. You know, but then suddenly I'm close up. I spent a lot of games in the last, I would say, well, basically every decade in this current half decade, the third decade of the 21st century, just looking down, bending my neck down towards the Broomland Road stand from my seat up at basically in line with the 6-yard box at the Copeland, because in the second half it always seems to be, how many times, particularly since 2012, have we found ourselves panicking in the dying embers of the game. And I suddenly remembered that because this bubble we live in, because we all live in echo chambers these days, we're online and just telling ourselves what we want to hear and working ourselves into a wee bitter, bigoted frenzy because we don't want. I'm not reading the Daily Record even. I'm not picking up my Daily Record and finding out what they think about the whole of Scottish football, the panoply of the Scottish game. It was the early hours of this morning before I was sitting in the toilet, looking through my phone, discovering that Kilmarnock and St Mirren had both scored late equalisers in their European games this week. So I thought, 3 Scottish teams have scored late equalisers in Europe this week. And then Motherwell, they drew their first game of the season, this league season, 0-0. We drew our first league game of the season. It's just draws seem to be the order of the day. I was thinking about Queen of the South equalising against us at Ibrox and the dying embers of a Challenge Cup match in 2011. I was thinking about, was it Stranraer and Stenhousemuir, Elgin City, the teams that stopped us having the 100% record in our wee spell in the League One. Just so many games. That remember we went to Alloa and we were winning 1-0. Was it 1-0? 2-0 we were winning, I think, with 20 minutes to go. in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, and they scored 3 goals in 20 minutes, and that was that final whistle. We're out. I just suddenly that was all coming back to me today as it started to get cold, and suddenly there was a little wind, a little tornado, and it was swirling. Was it coming from the east? Was it coming from the west? No, it was just coming from everywhere, and it's just what you want. Was a ball getting floated into the box on top of a goalkeeper who made a massive mistake the last time you were here. The last game I saw Rangers playing live in the flesh was at Hampden Stadium, and we lost by 1 goal to 0 to Celtic. Jack Butler had already made a world-class save at this point in the game today. And that wind was swirling, the ball came in, and it's fine. We dealt with it. But it was very uncomfortable. And a game that started the first 35 minutes, we seemed to be not quite blowing Motherwell away, but we looked fantastic. We looked really good. The energy was right. The direction was right. The direction of travel was right. It was really enjoyable, and you could see there was still a lot of work to be done, but this was good. It was heading in the right direction. The manager, the preliminary sketches were good. The final portrait was going to be fantastic, and then the next 45 minutes were very, very boring, very kind of just lack of pace, lack of direction almost. In the last 10 minutes, we just lost all cohesion, and you're just thinking this is going to go very, very wrong. We got over the line. We got a 2-1 win, and the big dynamic for me with this trip to Hampden and this spell at Hampden, this particular game, I was wondering what's it going to be like. I've never seen us hosting. I wasn't at the games in 78, 79 where we played Celtic twice at Hampden. I've never seen Rangers hosting a league match at Hampden. We all know about the fallout and the blame and just the fact that it's so embarrassing. I hadn't even thought about New Edmiston House. Do you know that? I hadn't even thought about New Edmiston House. I'm on this little stupid channel of my own here. Thanks very much for patronising it. You know, it's really good, you folks. I really appreciate it. When I caught Stu, I'm just slagging myself for my stupid patter, but it's a bit insulting to my audience. So yeah, just trying to just believe in yourself, Alex. Believe in yourself. You're worth it. After the end of last season, that horrible Scottish Cup final, a couple of days later, did a wee pod saying actually it wasn't as bad as I thought. You know, there's a really good spirit amongst the support, and you've got Diamonde and Sterling playing really well aggressively. Now, things are probably going to be all right. And then the following week, I went out to Ibrox, saw the Walter statue, had a wee coffee and all that in New Edmiston House, and I was just talking about how we've got this fantastic atmosphere now. We've got all these places around Ibrox. This, it's an event, you know, it's an actual venue to go to any day of the week, any time of the week. And from that venue, we've removed Ibrox. We've actually removed Ibrox. New Edmiston House, I don't know if folk are going there and getting bussed by the club for hospitality out to Hampden. I don't know what the situation is there at all. It'll still obviously be doing events and stuff like that, but you get that big new, brand new shop with all the new strips and all that, and that's supposed to be there for the whole week. We can still go there all the time, but you want it there on match day. What about Loudon? The Loudon must be getting absolutely destroyed by this as well. It was bad enough it was up against New Edmiston House of late, but I'd totally forgotten all about that. I thought it was going to be bad. You know, I knew it was going to be bad. I forgot just how bad it was going to be. But I was just coming to terms with let's enjoy it. I was trying to say let's enjoy Hampden. Hampden's still a home from home. It's still somewhere we've had a lot of high-end games at Hampden. This was the thing for me. Was this match today going to borrow from the drama? Even if you go to Scotland games, just Scotland beating Spain. I've seen Scotland beating Spain and France there twice each. Legendary games. That's all going to be lent onto what should be a routine league, just a run-of-the-mill league fixture. Rangers' second game of the season, their first at home, no air quotes, at home to Motherwell. Shouldn't be a big deal. But if you're going along in a stadium that's got so many dramatic, you know, really momentous associations, maybe it's going to be a bit more glamorous than usual. Or maybe the fact that we're playing a league game there, you're suddenly going to be sitting going, this isn't right. We're kind of desecrating Hampden by playing a run-of-the-mill game at a stadium that should just be saved for big occasions. And by the final whistle, was there boos? I don't know if there was boos. Somebody probably did boo, because there always does somebody booing at Ibrox. Mostly the place was deserted. Subway loyal. I take it they're all walking up to Bridge Street. There was hardly anybody there. There was total dissatisfaction, and everybody just walking down the stairs going, well, they won, didn't they? Aye, that's the main thing. So it was beyond even just it was worse than the normal Ibrox experience of much of the last decade and a half. It was just kind of it's at Hampden, we're doing this now. We're leaving at our home place. We're leaving at our home ground. Did you hit the door jams in the way? Would you slap the door jams in the way? I think I saw somebody doing it. I saw somebody doing it as you went out the actual, you know, onto the kind of, you don't go into the street the same way you do at Ibrox, but you're back out onto the car park and all that. at Hampden, and I thought, nah, I'm not doing that here. I don't want to. I'd gone from that bit in Heat where Nate is sitting telling he's got the files, he's got the skinny on the guy that's chasing Neil Macaulay, the Al Pacino character. He's going to tell him all about Vincent Hanna, as played by Al Pacino, and he's telling De Niro, three marriages. What do you think that means? He likes staying home. He's one of the guys out there all night, dedicated. And this is a top cop. This guy is performing. He's brilliant because he's never properly home. I thought, we'll use that when Rangers just start doing really well at Hampden. I'm going to use that, but no, I'm back at the bit where De Niro's Neil Macaulay has just seen his best mate's wife coming out of a motel room or waving goodbye to Hank Azaria's Alan Marciano because she's having an affair with him, and he busts into the motel and he gets her and he's like, clean up, go home, clean up, go home. That's what it feels like. Let's just get out of here and get home. What was the game? The reason I'm telling you to watch Jersnet tomorrow night, because my analysis is going to be absolutely terrible. The reason I'm going on and on about other stuff, the reason you're getting more gammony by the second because you can't get a podcast where a guy will just tell you about the game itself, he's got to talk about other stuff, is because I didn't realise how much the whole Hampden thing had taken out of me. I didn't realise how kind of curtain twitchy old man, not paranoid, but kind of neurotic I was going to be when I get into Hampden today. It was very distracting. I know that Rangers, as I say, were great the first 35 minutes. I know Motherwell had a chance where they were clean through after 3 or 4 minutes, and I don't know if it would have been offside, whatever. It looked a bit dodgy, but we just kind of opened up and just let them through, parted the waves for them. And I know that there was some great balls played from the centre of the park. I know that Dessers scored the goal. It would be another goal ruled out if the ball had gone out of play, but I didn't know that it had for sure. We were really slamming the ball from a lot of crosses coming from our wing backs and from our wide men, and it was looking really good. Scored a cracking goal and what have you. But I can't remember the details. I cannot remember the details. And I know I'm not a kind of Joshua Barry type actual proper scientific analyst of a game. As much as I love tactics and what have you, I'm watching Rangers and it makes me uptight in a way that I'm just, not for a second am I going to analyse what the opposition are doing to any great extent. You've got to pick stuff up obviously when you're 47 years watching football, but mostly I can't really concentrate properly, and that's why I always say these are post-match reaction points, my reaction. But today I really am struggling, and I'm not doing immediate post-match reactions. Not doing it for Jersnet. So much new blood at Jersnet. The boys need to. I'm just an old man. You want to get. A squad needs refreshed, as we know. You can only take things so far, and I'm off to the Trabzon Sport of Rangers podcast, and hopefully I'll be coming back every now and then on Jersnet. But most let guys go, and also even on this little pod, I don't want to do immediate post-match reactions because hanging about outside Ibrox not as good for a couple of years, but it's died a death, but also dotting about really late at night and all that, and taking a bit longer to get home. And say one day we do actually beat Celtic, at Ibrox, and I'm standing outside talking for an hour, then I've noticed that the crowd's clear. You're suddenly walking back to the motor, which suddenly seems an awful long way away, and that's why I'm not worried about the Asian community. It's the Celtic supporting community on Shield Hall Road, Helen Street, etc. That I'm I'm more worried about coming out and just I got an iron thrown at me. I was walking along. We beat Livingston at home, and I don't know what happened. I think Celtic had lost earlier in the day, so we'd gained 3 points on them. And there's a wee house just. Oh, you go along Shield Hall Road, and let's see if you could pass the wee Rangers Club. It's basically the first house you get to. After that, and this iron get launched. An iron get launched out the window and just landed in front of us. This is a day where I wasn't doing podcasting or whatever. It was going straight back with the main crowd. A woman in front of me, she's crapped herself. It was just millimetres away from her. It can land between us, and just behind her and just in front of me. And that's the kind of stuff that happens. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be, end up getting a scalping. But I've also realised that if I'm going to wait a couple of days, I want to give you a post-match reaction. I want to talk about the game, the latest game Rangers have played. But I realised today, I need to be honest. Okay, if I can't give you proper analysis, you need to get honesty. And as I'm driving home, you're hearing things on the radio, and I'm getting texts, and I'm getting tweets, and I'm finding out wee things that I didn't know. So it wouldn't be as honest as it could possibly be, because I would end up watching the sports scene highlights. For instance, I've not seen them yet as I'm talking to you, and I would find out exactly what went on. I can only tell you what I went through the day, and hopefully as Rangers supporters, we will connect. There's a sharing going on here, an honest reaction. And I was worried about Hampden. Obviously, I was worried it wasn't going to work out right. But I got in there, and I don't know how it worked for you. I had my, my ticket, printed the QR code and all that. I looked at the instructions. I saw the wee video that Rangers put out telling you how to do it. I've been to Hampden many a time watching Rangers in semi-finals and finals. I've been to Scotland games and all that, so I know about the system with the QR code and what have you. But I had that, and I had it on my phone, and I thought I knew where I was going to be. I thought I was going to be around that wee lip just above the Celtic end of the the wee top tier in the main stand, the south stand at Hampden. I thought it was going to be just because right above the old Celtic end, but it's in a bit. I'm basically just in line with the 18-yard box up that end. It's a great view, and and it's the escalators, which, believe me, after the summer I've had, that was bliss. There's escalators up to the seats, and I'm walking up, getting out there, and it was Enter Sandman. The music, but AC/DC, fantastic, always quite suiting of a big occasion. And Enter Sandman comes on, a bit Metallica, as I'm walking up to the seats, and I'm walking up, and it's that if I go to Hampden, there's these dead end stairs that you go up, and then there's a couple of seats in front of you, a couple of rows of seats in front of it. It's a nightmare. So you go to the other side of the vomitory. I'm trying to work at my seat. Then I'm asking the guy, is it in there? He's like, no, mate, it should be along that side. And I turned round, and Davey and Jenna, who I sit next to me, so they're like waving at me like, can you not see us, you clown? Obviously, you're next to us. So I go in there, and we're chatting away, and it's great. And there's other folk. We're kind of trying to suss out where everybody is. Some folk are in the seats corresponding to me where I sit. There's other folk that are the same distance away from me as they are in the Ibrox main stand, but lots of people that weren't there. It wasn't full. There was a big crowd there. Everything. It was a good crowd, but I don't know how much of that is the summer. It's August still. Schools go back in Monday. Other schools, I think, down there, are going back, for example, the following Monday. So a lot of folks still on holiday. But I was chatting away, going, oh, it's just and catching up. I seen David Ginger in the summer, but other folk, you're just talking away to that, chatting away about stuff. And it was only 10 seconds past 3 that we ought to, because the game starts. You all sit down, and everybody kind of went, oh, we've lucked out here. It's comfy seats, cushioned seats, the kind of leathery finish to them, kind of fake leather, but the cushion to the back and the cushion seat. And I'm like, Jen, see if this game doesn't lighten up. It's going 5 minutes. Just give me a shout. I'm just going to have a quick 5 minutes kip. Give me a wee shout. You're expecting to have the kind of drinks holders and the recliner in the back. We're all looking at each other. Oh, that's comfy, and I can get used to this. So we're thinking the move to Hampden is going to be okay. It's going to be great. And it started off great for Rangers. Now they're starting 11 today with three of the summer signings starting today, so a bit more positivity on that front. And the way we ended the game in Kiev, that fantastic goal, it wasn't in Kiev, sorry, it was in Poland. That first leg of a massive game during the week was very important, that we got that equaliser. So that given us a wee kind of nascent feel-good factor, as I was saying the other night, to bring into this game today at a time we actually needed it. The weather was helping. I think the weather was definitely helping. It was a nice day. And Rangers starting with 3 of the summer signings, so that was good. We're getting a debut for Robin Proper. Václav Černý, his first start for the team. And Connor Barron, he's playing, a man who's played at Hampden before and that. But so it's basically it's a start, and it's a debut, a starter for 2 of the players, and Connor Barron get to make I was going to say his first home appearance. It's stuff like that. It's very confusing. We've got Scott Wright on the left, and we've got Černý, a left footer, on the right, and we've also got the Motherwell support on the Rangers end. I don't know what that was all about. I don't know why the Motherwell support are in there. Is it because Mount Florida Station's the best route for Motherwell? I don't know why they weren't in the Celtic end, their traditional away end. But you've also got the Union Bears in the Rangers end, the singing section, which for the last decade or so has been in the Celtic end at Ibrox. But it's supposed to be getting moved to the Copeland this season anyway. So there was kind of bits of confusion there. But Proper's playing with John Souttar, who's a right centre half. You've got Jack Butland in goals, Tav at right back, you get Yilmaz at left back. Barron and Diamandis we're getting used to already. That's our sitting 2 in the midfield, and Scott Wright and Černý were the wide men, and you had Tom Lawrence at the 10 and Cyril Dessers up front, and we pounded them. We just absolutely pounded them for the first, I would say, 30 minutes to 35 minutes of the game, and it was nice to watch at times. It wasn't so much kind of like gegenpress as it was, because there's no really anything to counter. There's no counter press needed. It was quite energetic, and it was more maybe trouser press. You used to kind of steaming it, just get it in there, just steam slowly till you bring it to kind of uniformity of another Rangers victory kind of thing. Well, it beating them to death really. But there was little moments where Motherwell got in behind us, but the first goal, this is what I'm talking about, I don't really know what happened. We had a couple of really good moves, and then I think it's Diamandi. This is something I've seen on the BBC website. So I picked up, the only reason I know it's Diamandi assisted is because I read it since the game finished. So that's a bit dishonest of me. I didn't know who it was at the time the ball goes in, and I can't even tell you how Dessers finished it. It ends up in the back of the net. It had a wee flick. It flicked, kind of flicked back, heeled the ball into the back of the net earlier than that. After Rangers took a really quick free kick, and Kevin Clancy brings it back, because he's always got the sporting integrity in that. He's really concerned that we'd taken it before Motherwell were ready, before he was ready, but we looked sharp. It was good when he went, oh, that's good, we're really ready to go here. The ball ends up in the back of the net, then didn't count, and then the ball goes into Dessers. I thought it was offside. I thought something in the build-up was offside. And this is a great view you get from it. It's almost kind of new campish. The players look quite small, but you get a good view of the overall play. But it gets allowed. So Rangers score this goal. Everybody else is cheering, and I'm going, it's good, but I'll just wait until. But it was allowed. Absolutely fantastic. And then we had that incident where, Motherwell scored, but after that, we have a move for the ball, and it seems to get out of play. We're hitting it from one wing to the other and back in, and it ends up in the back of the net, and that didn't count. But I thought it did, and that one get ruled out. It was weird. This wasn't. I think the whole thing of moving to Hampden had finally got to me. From all my big talk of let's enjoy this, let's embrace it, I think it finally got to me today, and I just lost my concentration, which you probably have just now. You probably did about 5 minutes ago. Listen to me rabbiting on about it. But Motherwell, I can't even remember their goal. I just know that it came from a cross from our right-hand side. It's quite a deep cross, so I'm assuming Tav's going to be getting the blame for that, because anything in his kind of half of the pitch, he's always going to get the blame for it. But the ball comes in. I've seen somebody saying John Souttar made a terrible mistake today. Somebody tweeted me saying John Souttar, terrible mistake for him. Was that in the build-up? I just know it was Proper that put the ball in the back. He deflected it into his own net, kind of crawled into the far corner. And you're like, all right, Christ. This is about 3 minutes after we'd scored. And then about another 5 minutes later, we got back up the park. And Czerny, who, the manager had been talking about in yesterday's pre-match presser, saying, well, we can't expect him to play all the time. He's just back for holiday, and we can't expect him to be starting at this point. He's still to get his fitness, but he did start. So you never really know what the big man's, if he's playing the mind games or whatever, and he's doing really well. It's interesting to watch that thing, isn't it? A left footer playing in the right wing, because it's a kind of double-edged sword, mixed blessing. You're thinking, well, he's not able to whip it in first time. He's that way. Even if the fullback is chasing him down, he's still got the ball. So in his side, he can just whip it round the fullback. He's going to have to check, no pun intended, all the time. But that means that the opposition player is always kind of behind his stride, if you know what I mean. And we saw that with the goal that he scored, Czerny. He cuts across, and then he just uses that left foot, edge of the box, to whip it into the far corner. The minute it left his boot, you knew it was going into the far corner. Absolutely great goal, great moment for him, really cheerful. Rangers 2-1 up. That instant response to having lost the goal to Motherwell. Lots of jokes about two debutants scoring for us today. That everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be fine, let's go. And then a Motherwell player, that's the thing, I've just kind of, a Motherwell player, was it different Motherwell players? Was some of it deliberate? They started going down injured, and that's at a time when we're building up real momentum. You think it could be deliberate, but it really did slow the pace down from 35 minutes onwards to half time. Come into the second half, didn't really start that well in the second half. The manager does his usual. I think he brought the substitutions forward. I was just thinking, this isn't happening. We haven't come out here and built on what we did in the first half at all. When the manager makes double substitution, it's usually more closer to the hour mark, but 55 minutes. Now, Ross McCausland, come on, Czerny goes off. Czerny goes off after 55, 56 minutes and gets man of the match, which tells you everything you need to know about what happened thereafter. Ross McCausland, I knew I was going to get. I'm terrible with substitutions these days. I think it's Alzheimer's. It's definitely creeping in there. But Ross McCausland came on, and did Tom Lawrence come off at that point for the one and the only Dujon Sterling? I think that's what it might have been. Yeah. Tom Lawrence come off, because I remember being pissed off. Yeah, I remember being pissed off because when Tom Lawrence come off as Ross McCausland went on, that meant I couldn't say we've got a Scotsman, Englishman, Irishman on the park, and a Welshman at the same time. We had all parts of the UK, and that was the non-Irishman come on, and the Welshman went off. And I think what happened, I think we had Diamandi maybe pushing up to 10, although at times, and Sterling sitting alongside Conor Barron, although at times it looked like we had Conor Barron and Diamandi kind of sitting in support of the wide two and Cyril Dessers, and we had Conor Barron just sitting himself really in front of the defence to prompt that. But what was it, 10 minutes later again, we bring on another couple of substitutions, and it was quite weird the way it happened. I think the manager was trying to bring on, oh God, who was it? Somebody for somebody. It was he brought on Kieran Dowell, and that was later on. That was later on for Diamandi. Oh, this is terrible. Sorry, folks. This is what I mean. I've actually lost the plot today. I couldn't concentrate on anything that was going on in the game. There was a general feeling of we shouldn't be here. It was like I'd spent the whole week thinking, Hampden will be a great experience. It's really interesting actually. It's just another colourful part of our history. Rangers always do well in chaos. Chaos has surrounded our history, and we've managed to be the most successful team in the world despite all that chaos. And I got the other day and I thought, this isn't right, we shouldn't be here. And I think that's what's affected the way I've tried to analyse, the way I was unable to properly analyse what was going on. It wasn't working. Whatever was happening wasn't happening on the park anyway, and we're struggling, and Motherwell coming more and more into the game. And it was running at the 70 minutes mark. Who the hell was it we were trying to bring on? It was Scott Wright. We're trying to bring Scott Wright off and bring on Rabbi Matondo. I know you've been shouting at me, remember that? And that wasn't happening because we'd started. Robin Proper have to come off as well because the two centre halves weren't looking good. I think it was at the bit where they're joining. They're two berths. They're two areas of the pitch that they're in charge in. Where they meet, where their responsibilities meet. I don't think it was pretty clear. They hadn't established a partnership yet. Big Suter and Proper. So off went Proper, who's just, match fitness will be away to anything anyway, so it's probably good that he only got like 70 minutes. That's probably more than we could have expected to get out of him. Got him off the park, and on came Leon Balogun, who had just been brought down. He'd been brought down from that, in Hampden, it's kind of set back, the whole bit where the substitutes at the technical area is quite big. And the manager delayed the substitution of Scott Wright to make sure to get Leon Balogun on for Proper as well. And then Leon Balogun comes on and starts making a lot of really bad passes. And so did, I think Tav had been doing that as well. Yilmaz was getting caught in possession. The guys who'd been firing balls in the other night in the second half in Poland and doing really well, and who in the first half I thought were doing really well, I thought we're raining in balls from wide, we're raining in balls from the fullback areas and from the wide players, and there's a lot of great stuff from Barron and Diamandi getting right through the middle as well. And Cyril Dessers, that's him. I mean, he scored the goal of the day. You can dress it up in various ways. If you want to include the 2 goals he scored against Union Berlin, for example, that's him scored 3 goals in his last 3 games, isn't it? Yeah, 3 goals in his last 3 games, 3 goals in the last 4 games. Or if you want to add the semi-final of the Scottish Cup last season, that's 3 goals in his last 3 games at Hampden. That'd probably be a better one. I know you're kind of stretching it. It's a bit tenuous at times, but it's because he's scoring goals. He scored that goal the other night in Poland, and he scored the one the day. So the big man is doing the business. He's getting the numbers, even though there's still, we think we could still get a lot more from the solo Rangers striker. But it wasn't happening, and we got really panicky, and we're starting to kind of 40 bits, a bit like this podcast is, and end up we have a brilliant save from Jack Butland down to his left hand side. I remember that. A ball that looked like it was going to creep into the bottom corner of the net, and that was a bit of redemption, I think, probably for Butland, who in those very same sticks at the very same end of the park had his rick, and what was a series of ricks in the goal we lost against Celtic in the Scottish Cup final. But it would all have counted for naught if we'd let in an equaliser. We didn't do that, and that's a massive thing, because I think we're hoping we're going to have, 3 games now in different competitions, 2 different competitions, none of which are the league. So if we're having to get through games against Dinamo Kiev and either RB Salzburg or 20 Day and St Johnstone in the League Cup, knowing that we've already dropped 4 points out of 2 games in the league, it's going to make that kind of stuff harder. Getting the win makes all the difference. We can still look at the manager and say, yeah, he's getting the signings in. The Hampden shenanigans, it's held him back a bit, it's delayed everything. The club's not in a bad situation. We're having to clear out a lot of players we need clubs to come in and buy a lot of the players. I know I've saw another one of the things I've managed to see since getting back from the game and talking to you now is that Hadji scored a hat trick for the B team, apparently. So people are like, oh, we should have had Hadji in the team today if he's available. But we're trying to sell the guys. His head is elsewhere. Scoring a hat trick for the B team is very different. Getting one for the A team. Remember, Alex Lowry used to be working miracles for the B team, and we're now kind of looking to get rid of him as well, because for a lot of reasons that we can have a lot of sympathy with, for a young man. Basically, it's not working out for him. So I think suddenly it could have been, if Motherwell had equalised today, I think there's a pressure building. There's a little kind of body politic, that's saying Clement's not the man. It's Clement's fault. I find that preposterous. I think the manager knows exactly what he's doing. He just needs to get the backing to get these players in. But it would have gained more ground today, and a lot more traction in anti-Clement sentiment today if we'd not won this one. But instead of it being a great day at Hampden, it turned into an awful day. Instead of this being a kind of half decent pod, it's turned into an awful pod. So if nothing else, I am completely in unison with my club, and hopefully this pod has reflected that. I'll go and get a lie down, or maybe a drink first, then a lie down, folks, and I'll give you a wee bit of chat ahead of this massive game with Dynamo Kiev on Tuesday night. But that's us. We're in there. We're settled down. Let's bed in and make the Hampden experience gradually a bit better as we go along, and I'll try and do the same in these pods. Thanks.